welcome back. And by the thumbnail of this video, you can tell that it's going to be a pretty interesting video. Being that I don't post many videos of this truck because I have a lot of other projects going on. But today we're going to work on getting this thing to drive perfect. Right now it drives pretty good for how big it is, but it could drive better with only doing one thing. I went ahead, I designed all the front sway bar stuff for it. So you got the sway bar arms, the top braces. I built 2 sets of tabs because I might have to do an offset tab so the sway bar link is in line. I ordered a piece of tubing that a grade 8 3/4 bolt slides right into, nice and tight. I cut mirror finish, polished overlays for the sway bar. That way the front sway bar and the back sway bar match. Don't mind the truck, is absolutely filthy right now. I have yet to detail this thing since I put it into Gabe's pond. Once we get everything we're doing right now done on this truck, I'm gonna take it, have it completely detailed, and it hasn't been detailed like professionally since I think Smoky Mountain Truck Meet a few months back, because the truck just sits. I don't drive it much, and I really need to get back to driving this truck around, because when a second gen sits for too long, it just, doesn't like to start, doesn't like to do anything. So I haven't started this truck in about a week now. So I'm about to fire this truck up. Hopefully the batteries aren't dead. I know in the last video when I started it and moved it, the batteries were not dead, but who knows? It's still a second gen. It has new batteries, but again, it's the second gen, so the batteries are probably garbage in it now. Let's get this thing started up. We're gonna move it, take the front sway bar off of it that I already went ahead and built about 6 months ago. It's kind of just been chilling like that. A perfect time for me to get everything done on it and get the front sway bar complete, and then everything on the suspension is complete. Unless we take it back apart and make it like 4 feet taller. I got it. We build the same truck, just at a smaller scale. We can only pray that it starts. That's crazy. 2 times in a row I went to film this truck, it fired right up. So let's get the sway bar off of it, then once all that's done, I gotta get a new drag link built, because when the link's on here, this is gonna hit the link. So I'm gonna have one of these custom bent around the link. That should also help the steering tremendously. Sway bar is all formed up, tacked together. Still have to center this part of it, and then these get welded on the inside. That way the bar can't slide side to side, so there's one on each side. And then we are just about ready to mock up where the sway bar link will land on each side. I know I built the offset bracket, so it comes up out of here and to the right a little bit. And I also made a straight bracket. I'm probably gonna have to use the offset brackets on this truck just because it has a Ford axle. Second gens didn't come with Ford axles from the factory like they should have, but we can build stuff to make it work and look amazing. Next on the list is we have to make a bracket to be able to bolt the heim joint at the axle for the sway bar link. So what I have here is a piece of tube that a 3/4 bolt slides right into. I got a side plate that you'll put the bolt through, then to the heim joint, and then it'll go through the other side. You have this nice little polished overlay that'll sit on there to accommodate the rest of the polished overlays on the truck. So once that bracket is painted blue, this polished overlay would look really good on that little bracket on the bottom to hold the sway bar link. Just a little touch I added to complete the whole lift. That way it's just not a blue bracket bolted to the axle, has a little bit of an accent on it. So I'm gonna go ahead, get this stuff all welded up really quick. Built some gussets to strengthen the bracket, and that should look a lot better than just a straight piece of tube on the truck. Just went ahead, got that all fabbed up. Still gotta do some finishing work on it. Now you guys can see what I was talking about with that. So when that's powder coated, you have that piece right there. So we're gonna get this all sanded down, get it looking perfect, and that's what we'll bolt on our heim joint to the axle. With the bracket mocked up there for now, I am still gonna add a little gusset piece inside of there, I think. Cut a piece of tubing, tack weld some heims inside there. And the front of the truck looks a lot more complete now that it has the front sway bar on it, because for the longest time, these have just been hanging on it, and people are like, what is that for on your truck? I started doing it, got sidetracked, but now we're back to doing the sway bar, and this thing should drive a lot better once I get it complete. So what I'm gonna do now is I have to drill that out to 3/4, cut the new link, tack weld the heims in, mock it all up, make sure it fits perfectly, figure out the clearance for the tie rod. I'm probably gonna have to bend this tie rod like I was saying, but we'll see what it does once we get it all fully welded up. Hopefully it doesn't hit, but it's probably gonna hit. It'll look good when it has the bent drag link on it, but I'm gonna get into building that side really quick. Then we'll be able to see how the front of the truck looks with the front sway bar all built and installed on it. So we're taking this first test drive with the sway bar on it, and it should drive a lot better. It has like no clearance on the drag link and the sway bar link, so that's about all we can turn right now so it doesn't rub. We're gonna load this thing up and take it to get a drag link built, but it drives a lot better. It doesn't have an alignment yet on the steering wheel, but it drives straight for being on like a 40-inch lift, and honestly, it drives a lot better than you would expect. Before you were like this trying to drive it, but now you can drive it like a normal truck, which is actually crazy. And I can see everything behind me with that wolf box. That's actually a lifesaver. Shout out to Infinite Customs for coming through, hooking me up with that. But for the half mile I just drove this truck, I'm actually shocked at how much better it steers and handles. So, like I said, load it up real quick, strap it down, and we're off to get a drag link built. Stalled it going up the trailer, and I was scared to like start it back up with the key, so I just threw it in reverse really quick, bump started it, and it worked. But we should probably turn off those rock lights because it's going to be dead if I leave them on. So it's colder than balls here in Indiana, but where's the tube? Oh, the tube's in the back seat. And we brought some DOM tube, which why it's in the back seat, I don't know. Brought the big truck. Oh, we must have hit something because the mirror's bent backwards. That's crazy. That's unfortunate. Yeah, the whole mirror's scraped up, but we're gonna get this old drag link off the truck. We're gonna bend a piece of tubing for the new one, and then we're gonna weld some new inserts in it, take the Heims out of that bar, slap it on the truck, and then we should be good with everything we have to build. Take it all apart, get it powder coated, and yeah, the truck should drive a lot better. So we're gonna unload the truck, leave it here for a couple days while he bends the drag link and maybe the rear sway bar links, because those back ones have the tires, because you know it is on a 19-inch wide tire, let alone a 53. So I'm gonna unstrap this really quick, back it off, and then yeah, we should be pretty good. Truck is dropped off. Left some tubing and some Heims here for him to get the drag link bent. We're gonna hook the trailer because I don't want to haul it an hour back home, then an hour back here, then an hour back home. So 3 days later, we have the tie rod back to the shop, bent up for the big truck. Now I'm gonna grab some inserts for Heim joints, weld those in. we'll be able to throw that on the truck, and that thing should steer and drive a lot better. So now that we got the new drag link bent, inserts welded inside of it, I can take the old one off the truck, get that thrown onto it, and this thing should steer a lot better with a bent drag link on it, and it'll have plenty of clearance between here and here now. So we just got the new drag link on. That fits perfectly. Now we have plenty of clearance between the sway bar link and the drag link itself. All the angles look good. The heim joint's not binding up there at all. And now, the last thing I have to do to this truck is make it have heat, because when I put it together, it was about to be summertime, it was springtime, and it was about to be like 80 degrees out every day. And I was like, you know, I'm not gonna drive it in the cold or in the winter time, but I don't know why I said that, because I'm going to drive this thing inside the snow. I'm going to drive it in the winter. I'm not one that wants to just tuck away their trucks for the winter time, because why would I want to spend all this money building this truck just to drive it 4 times out of the year? So right now I got to get some heater hoses for it, get the heater core hooked up, because right now it's just bypassed, and then hopefully this truck has heat. It is a second gen, so I bet you it only blows out the top vents. I actually forgot how nice this truck was underneath the hood. Looks like our manifold paint is no longer on the manifold, but hood stack looks amazing. All the powder coat looks amazing as well. It is very, very dirty. This thing sits more than I drive it, but not for long. So we have to get this bypass off of here, and then once we get that off, we'll be able to take the heater hoses that hook up to the firewall back inside there, run those down into the head and the side of the block, and then this truck should have heat, because I'm not driving it with no heat inside the winter time. And that one's tight. So now we can start the truck and hope that it has heat. So now the real test is, does it have heat? And the motor's not warmed up yet. I can't really tell because none of the gauges want to work. I haven't gotten that far with this truck yet. So let's see. Oh, it probably got like a rat's nest blowing out of it, and it, like I said, it's not gonna blow out of the vents. But it blows out of the top, so that's 4 vents with heat inside of it. So let's go get this truck warmed up really quick and see if the heat starts to work. So right now we're on like a 40-inch lift, and this thing drives effortless. Like, it still has a little bit of that second gen slop, but for how big it is, you really can't tell. You're on practically a 40-inch lift in 53s. I've never really drove this comfortable in it, so as long as that heat works, I can go daily driving this truck, and that will be awesome, because in the snow, Mega Cab like does good in the snow, but I feel like this is gonna do a lot better with 4-wheel drive and with these big tires on it. So we're waiting for it to heat up, and so far we have a little bit of heat coming out of it, but I guess we'll know in like the next 10 minutes. So we have good heat, this thing drives amazing, and now I gotta take all that stuff back off the front, send it to get powder coated, and then that'll all be complete. And this thing really needs wash, so we'll probably take it to get that done. But I forgot how loud this thing is with that hood stack. I don't know if you guys can hear me on the camera with that hood stack. You can't even hear when the window's down. But this thing drives literally like a stock 2G. Obviously still has this little 2G slot. It has the second gen wiring problems, but we'll get that fixed. I'll drop it off at the diesel shop because I am not good with wiring at all. I can hook up rock lights and that's about it. I don't touch anything else when it comes to wires besides rock lights. But let's get back to the shop and get this thing parked before we get pulled over. Just got the big truck back in. Sway bar, drag link, everything we just did looks amazing. The heat works good. It drives like way too good for how big this truck is. But we gotta get all that stuff powder coated. So with that being said, it's gonna end today's video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.